All right, we are live. Can't see it. Can't see it on my screen yet. Let's see. Live. I don't see it. Home. Anyone here? Hello, just wait, give me a second. I'm trying to get this set up. Here we go. All right. So we're doing another little impression here. And just have to warn you, I'm in New York City. Turn this volume off. What do we have? Got one follower. We're in New York City, and I just have to warn you, there might be some honking, some screaming, some car alarms, fire trucks, you name it. Airplanes, train whistles. So we have this nice little blue, a cool blue-purple color that we'll be working with today. This is a little sample of what we'll be working with. It's a gray-blue. And I wanted to show you, I always have my samples up here from all of the impressions that I've done on the print that I'm working for. I like to keep track of them, and I label them for each one, so that when I come back, if I want to refer to a color, I can always see what it was. So I like to keep that as documentation for my prints that I make. So this will be a light, transparent impression. Let me show you the print so far. Last night I did a little bit of yellow in his chalk bag, and I just made the helmet a little bit darker. And so this impression will be the clothes and the helmet. It's just another base layer. It's a little bit darker than the first one. So it's pretty straightforward today. But I figured I'd do a live stream, see if we can get some different people on here at a different time of day. So as always, if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat. Greatly appreciate that. Just gonna grab a piece of scrap paper. Test out this color. See there, it's pretty light. You can see it starts to get this pattern in his helmet. Start to get some more details in the gear that's hanging off of his harness. I want that a little bit darker. So at the beginning here, we're just trying to figure out the level of intensity that we want for this impression. And we're just letting this little cherry block absorb the moisture, get hydrated. So we just practice on a piece of copy paper and just keep paying attention to what we're going for. I also have to warn you, Con Edison is out front. We've had a few gas leaks in the street for a couple months now, so now they're looking at a second hole that they put in the road, and they're trying to locate a natural gas leak. So that's very exciting. So if we spontaneously combust, you know why. This is probably a good value for this pigment. And after looking at it on the paper, you can adjust the colors if you want. It can be a little more blue, but for right now, I think that's pretty good. Just kind of want a general blue gray tone. So I think I'm almost ready here to kind of print the first one. See what we're looking at here. So here we go. This is what it's looking like for now. Well, that's too light, so you can't really see the difference too much. It's not bad. I think it just needs to go a little bit darker. Just a little bit. So I'm not going to put any pigment in the brush this time. I'm just going to do it again with what's in the brush now. And I'm going to just run this one again. You can't see in the top, it's hard to tell from here, but you can see the helmet, the pattern in the helmet starting to form. I just want that to pop a little bit more. So we're just going to do this one again. And this first sheet I have in my edition is kind of the practice sheet. I haven't messed it up too bad yet, but there was a crease in this paper. You might be able to see it. So I just put that in the front of the stack so that it could be my test. You can start to see the helmet, the pattern in the helmet there. And then you can see the yellow hanging off his chalk bag. And I put a little yellow here for his one camming device, which is a number 2 Black Diamond C4. It's the gold color. So I think that's pretty good. It's subtle. And after I'm done with these, I just put them in my drawing rack for now. So now we just keep going. A little bit of paste, a little bit of pigment. This one looks like it's going to be quite darker. So I drop the paste over here and I can pick it up with my brush. And I can see how much pigment I'm picking up each time. And then each time I can just make the dot or the blob of ink smaller or larger, depending on what I want. I can adjust as I go. If I put it on here, you know, I can't get it. It's too late. I have to, I can wipe it off with a paper towel, but it's easier to just monitor it over here. So here we are. You can see the helmet's a little darker and this little gold areas on his back. I'm trying to do these live streams at different times of the day to kind of generate some different followers, so people can join at different parts of different areas of the world, different times of the day. And these are just going to be random times when I'm working in the studio. And it's a good opportunity for people to ask questions or get involved. Or feel free to tell me about your printmaking projects or what you've got going on in your studio. I don't know if you can see it. You can see that little pattern, little bit of pattern in the helmet area. And darken the figure, the clothing in the figure a little bit. It's hard to gauge the values of this print at the moment because the sky hat portion is complete. But this area that he's climbing on, the rock area, it's still just it's this white, or it's a light gray. And it's actually going to be really dark mass up here, like overhung, like a ceiling, a roof. It's going to be almost black, and there's going to be a really warm, dark mass of rock here. So you have to kind of figure that that's going to be there eventually. So it's kind of, you just have to use your best judgment. But right now it's definitely in a transitional stage where you're kind of in the middle of the print, and it always kind of looks a little strange when it's going through these major transitions. But I've done this a couple times before, and I have an idea of where I want it to go. So I just have to keep moving forward and hope it works out. Whoever leaves the first comment wins a prize. We only have one person watching now, so here's your opportunity to win a prize. There was 7 people on here, I think. They check in and they're like, oh, this is so boring. But that's okay. It's not boring for me. Plus, this goes on a replay on YouTube, so I'm really making it for the replay. And if people happen to just join me during the stream, that's great too. That's nice. You can see the helmet there, the division, the little pattern that's starting to happen. So we're starting to get some details in this figure. Right now his arms and legs are really bright. But that's going to change eventually. So that was a good value on that last one. I'm just going to keep going with that. So it's one small dot of paste, just like one brush stroke of pigment. That seems to be working. So whoever leaves the first comment wins a prize. As I mentioned before, there's a Con Edison guy out front. He's looking for a gas leak somewhere in the road in front of the house. They've been drilling holes and fixing gas leaks in the road for a couple months now. And I don't think they've solved the issue yet because they keep coming back. So you might hear some noise out there. So you can see how light. So there goes a construction truck. So you can see how light the figure is here. And then after this impression, you'll see the value change. I'm going to lay this paper down gently so it doesn't move. And I'm rubbing firmly here, not crazy hard, but I have to make sure I keep the bearing nice and flat, because you don't want to roll it over the edges of this little area here. So there you are. You can see the helmet. You can see how dark that got. I'll put a print next to this so you can compare. Now this kind of printing it's a slowly building up, impression by impression. So you can see the one on the left is what we just did, the one on the right. So you can see the depth that's happening here. It really makes a big difference, each little step along the way. Let's see what's going on outside real quick. Yeah. Con Ed is still out there. They're probing holes in the ground to see where the gas is coming from. There's also a lot of construction down the street, building a new residential building. It's a big one. It's like 4 or 5 floors. So we get constant construction trucks coming down the street. It's a one-way street. And there's also a school directly across the street. So there's lots of buses and parents dropping off children and coming to the school for meetings. There's like deliveries, like food deliveries and supplies. One of these days I'll take you for a walk around the neighborhood. So you can see the grain pattern in his clothing. And I don't mind that. It's kind of cool. It adds to the print. I think it adds interest to the print. You can also see the grain like up at the top here, this gray area. So yeah, it's coming along. I'd say I'm about halfway on this print. I can count how many impressions I've already done. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I'm on like the 14th impression, I think. So this one's going to be about 20 impressions, I think, which is more than I usually do. But this is kind of a special print for me because making this print for an exhibition that I'm in November of this year. So this area that I'm depicting in this image is called the Gunks, or the Shawangunks, and it's land that's owned by the Mohonk Preserve. And I have a solo exhibition at their gallery. They have a visitor center on their property. So when you come into the park, you can pull right into their visitor center. And they have a really nice little gallery space. And I was invited to have a solo exhibition. And I'm going to have prints and paintings, maybe even some drawings, I'm not sure. So this is the first print that's dedicated to that exhibition. So I'm going to work as hard as I can between now and then and make as many prints as I can. I'll be doing some outdoor plein air painting, and I'll make probably a couple studio paintings. And my goal is to have around 20 works in the exhibition space. And I'd like to have about 5 of these, 5 prints that are roughly this size, which is 11 by 17. I'd like to have about 5 of them. So this would be the first one of a series. And I'm sharing that information with you, the 5 people that are on here at the moment. And you're the first people to know about it. But I'm really excited because it's really my first solo exhibition that I've ever had. I did have one in my undergrad. Had some paintings in a small gallery in Buffalo, New York. But that was just for a class that I was taking, and I had to organize it and pay for it on my own. I rented gallery space, and so that was a solo exhibition, but that was a long time ago. It was in like 2006 or 2007. So this is my first solo exhibition as an emerging artist, I guess you'd call it. I don't know. Mid-career? I'm old enough to be mid-career, I guess. But I also really love this place. I love climbing there, and I'm really excited to have this opportunity to exhibit works in the same location where I spent a lot of my time climbing and hiking, riding my bike, visiting friends. This area is about an hour and a half north of New York City. Good evening. It's time to change the date in Japan. Thank you for the delivery. Nice. Nice to see you. Worthy. Are you working or taking a nap? Nice. I'm glad you're not working too hard today. It's a beautiful day out there today. It must be a nice day on the harbor. I'm going to try and get on a bike ride after this. Yeah, we should be climbing. For sure. I'm climbing in my mind right now. So the guy that's in this print, who's my partner, one of my climbing partners, my buddy, he's checked in and he's watching the live stream. He's at work right now. But that's alright, you can still check in and be part of the fun. I'm glad you're here, Worth. I was wondering what color I should make the rope, because that's coming up soon. There's this rope area that comes, I don't know if you can see it, but it's coming from here and then disappears like behind your leg. I was wondering what color you think it should be. I was thinking maybe bright pink. Red. Golden. Oh yeah, golden is great. The screen is getting three-dimensional. I don't know what that means. You mean the print is getting three-dimensional? Yeah, I'll definitely make the rope golden color. Because that's the current color of our newest rope that we're using. I did put some gold in this one already, if you can tell. You got a little gold in your chalk bag, and there's a gold little number 2 in there hanging. I did that little impression last night. I don't have any moderators on this live stream yet, so just make sure you're being appropriate. I don't want to get flagged for foul language or something. Yeah, a golden rope would be real nice. I think that'll be real nice. Although the wall is like kind of orange. It might get lost in the golden strand, might get lost in the orange rock face. I'll save the rope for the end. It'll be the last impression. I was going to do it soon, but I can save it for the end, I think. It'll be the last impression. The final touch. Yeah, and I could Photoshop a couple different color schemes in there and see which one works best, maybe. And then we'll do it off of that. Because that is like a nice little touch. The color of the rope. So... it can make or break the print, the success of the print, if you have the rope the wrong color. Yeah, a lot of rock impressions to do. I counted them earlier. I think it's going to be about 6 or 7 impressions in the rock face. 6 or 7. So it's not that many. So that should go pretty quick, actually. So this print should be done. This print will definitely be done in the next 2 weeks. And then I'll be moving on to something else. Yeah, pink might not be a good color either because it might not contrast with the rock very well. It might have to be darker color, like purple or something. I don't know. We'll see. We'll save it for the end. I can scan the print, and then we'll put so you get the helmet texture of your helmet going on there now. You can see the highlights in your forearms. It's starting to come together. So there's like 3 more impressions in the figure, maybe even 4. So these are very small impressions, but they add to the details of the print. So I'm going to finish the figure off, the climber off all together, and then I'm going to start on the rock. See, we got 10 people at the moment. Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining me. We're having a little Tuesday morning, early afternoon print party. We're just dreaming about being outside, climbing rocks. Yeah, you don't have to apologize for your poor English. I don't know any Japanese. I don't know any other languages, so no need to apologize. But I'm guessing you're meaning that the print is starting to develop and look more three-dimensional. Like the space and it's starting to come together. You can see the distance and it's really going to change when I start making I'm going to start doing the rock formation. I'm just glad you're joining us all the way from Japan. That's really cool. And you can see the grain of the wood on his back and the rack that he's carrying on his harness. And I like that. That's cool. So how many sheets do we have left here? We got like 4 more sheets. Yeah, I showed these earlier, but these are all the color strips from all the impressions I've taken so far on this print. So I like to document the colors that I'm using. So these are the blues that I used in the sky. This was the green I used in the grass. And here are some of the flesh tones, the skin tones that I was layering. And now today we're doing this color. And I'll label these and I'll just keep these together for reference in the future or for later on in the print if I want to test another color against one of these colors. So here we are. Someone's in from South Africa. Nice. Welcome. Preparing dinner. Nice. What are you making? What you making for dinner? I know it's nice to see the print as it is right now, but there's so much more to go. You have to push it to the end. You can't stop midway. You have to follow through to the end. Even if you ruin it, sometimes you ruin the prints, you know, if you keep working them and you make a mistake along the way or you make a bad decision, and you could potentially ruin the print, which is always, it's part of the risk involved in doing this sort of printing, which makes it exciting. So you have to stay in control. And it's really similar to climbing. You know, you can't stop in the middle of a route and give up. You have to push through until you get to the top. And if you fail and you do fall, it's okay. The rope will catch you and you learn from your mistakes and you do a better job next time. Or you train harder for the next time. Same thing with printing. You have to keep practicing. And each time you get a little better. You gain some more experience and you get a little better. Or you learn about something that you like or something you don't like about it. And you can make changes. You can also experiment with this printing. So this print is going to be a little bit of an experiment. I've done it before, but half of this print is going to be water-based, which it is still, I'm printing water-based, which is traditional Japanese woodblock printmaking, or it's called Mokuhanga. And then when I get to the rock formation, I'm switching over to oil-based pigment. So it's going to be half Eastern printing, half Western printmaking. And it's going to make it for an interesting visual effect on the paper, I think. And the oil pigment is going to be really rich and solid, like the rock formation. And then the water-based pigment that distance the sky and the landmass and the climber himself, it's going to be more transparent and atmospheric. So I'm hoping that the oil and the water pigment together will have a nice conversation together on the page. And I've done this in one print before, where I did water pigments and oil-based pigments, and it was pretty successful. I was happy with it, but it was a much smaller scale, and this is going to be a little bit more involved and a little more interesting, I think. So I'm putting the size of the print. This print I haven't really made. This is the largest Mokuhanga print that I've ever made. So I'm kind of pushing the so this is about 11 by 17, this print. I usually work very much smaller. So here we got some construction trucks coming down the street. It's a cement truck. He decided to park right out front. So we might get some noise here. All right, we got 11 people. This is nice. This is a record so far, I think. Yeah, I'm putting these prints, after I do the impression, I put them in the drying rack. And I dry these prints in between each impression. Pork chops, mash, and mixed veg. Nice. That sounds good to me. How are you preparing those pork chops? My wife does these pork chops in the air fryer with it's like shake and bake or like breadcrumbs, and they're really good. I love a shake and bake pork chop cooked in the air fryer. It's delicious. I'm really lucky because my wife is a very good cook. She takes care of my son and I with all of her delicious cooking. I can cook a couple things, but I don't do it as much as I probably should. I like cooking breakfast. Yeah, they're crispy, all right. Yeah, you guys have an air fryer? I know Sarah probably has an air fryer. Man, we use our air fryer like at least 3 or 4 times a week. I'd say 3/4 of our meals are cooked in the air fryer now. But she also uses the slow cooker. And we have like an Instapot that we cook rice in, and we'll do chilies and stews and stuff like that in the Instapot. It's just easier. Just like the air fryer and the Instapot, you just like set the time and the temp, and you just walk away from it and get other things done. Yeah. I haven't had lunch yet, so now I'm getting hungry. Got me thinking about pork chops and I think we got 2 prints left. I've got about 15 or 18 sheets, I think, in this stack. Man, it's a nice day out there. It's a little windy, but it's a nice spring day. I'm gonna try to get on my bicycle after this. So if anyone's in the New York City area, wants to go for a quick ride, let me know. Look at that, envelope number 2, just ready to go. Let's see. Yeah, one more print. How long is this going on for? 45 minutes, all right. So these live streams, after I finish, like 3 or 4 hours later, I don't know how long it takes, but definitely the next day, the replay is on my regular YouTube channel. So if you happen to miss one of these live streams, be sure to check the live section of my YouTube channel, and you can find all the episodes that you missed. Yeah, so that's why I overprinted. So you can see the green, that like green mass there, and this blue and purple that's above is, that's all going to be covered with oil pigment. So I wasn't too worried about that. And the oil pigment sits more on the surface of the paper. It doesn't get pushed into the fibers. This water-based pigment, so this paper is dampened. It's got some moisture in it. And I'm actually pushing this pigment into the fibers like a wet sponge. So I'm squeezing that pigment into the paper fibers. And that's why you can see it coming through the back of the paper. The oil pigment sits more on top, which makes sense because the rock feature will be closer to us, and then the air and the sky behind is more distant, more atmospheric, more, you know, it's water. So I think that's going to work really well, having both in the same print. Yeah, it's a pretty, I can measure it exactly. Let's see here. The sheet is about 16. It's about 10.5 by 16. The image is 15. It's a 9 by 15 inches for this print. But I'm happy with it so far. I wasn't sure about the sky because it's like a cloudy, overcast kind of day. But I think it works well. And it's towards the end of the day that I'm trying to show. So the sun is actually, it's over the cliff. So all this rock feature and the figure is in shadow, or like half light or reflective light. So it's going to be a much darker. So it's going to be a really nice contrast. And I positioned the figure like kind of in the center of the composition, center. So it's actually his hands are where the center of the composition is. And I know you're supposed to offset, the focal point of a image or a composition, but there is going to be this big, large, heavy mass above him, and it's going to be coming on an angle, and I think it'll work. So we'll see how it goes. Yeah, this is pretty much Oban size. Yeah, it's close to 11 by 17, which is like poster size, they call it. But it's quite large for what I'm used to. So any other comments or questions before I go? Gotta get outside and go for a bike ride. Maybe I'll show you outside real quick. Let's see, we'll take you to the window. It's hard to see. There's a shot of the sky. It's a beautiful spring day. The buds are forming on the trees. My reflection. So this is what it's looking like outside. You can see the cones. Local crows. No, I don't have crows. I have barking dogs, honking horns, car alarms, screaming children, screaming adults, planes, trains. That's what I have. So that's a school across the street. Let's see you can see the hole. There's a hole at the bottom of the driveway behind that tree there. That's one of the Con Ed holes. And then the other hole is across the street where those cones are. And that brick building across the way there, that burnt down. That building burnt. Really bad fire last end of, like in the middle of, like the end of last, like this time of year, last year. It's in the spring, early summer, because school was still in session, and there was an e-bike caught fire. The battery was hooked up to a charger, and it had the wrong cable. And man, that whole building was just shooting fire out the top for like 2 hours straight. It was pretty crazy. So they've been renovating that, gutting it and rebuilding the interior of it. Yeah, it was pretty scary. You know, I was driving home with my son. I could see it from the distance. I thought it could have been our building. So we had to park, and we ran up here, and I was like, oh my God, it's so close to our house, and literally right across the street. So luckily nobody was injured. Everyone was okay. I think the only fatality was a cat. But the fire department, they came really quick and they did a really good job. But yeah, those e-bikes, they're a problem. So this is my messy studio area. Yeah, poor cat's right. So you can see the delay here. So thanks for hanging out. I hope everyone enjoys the rest of their day, wherever you are in the world. South Africa, Japan, Staten Island, Long Island. Till next time. Yeah, no, I'm taking it easy. I do like half a pork chop, don't worry. Yeah, I'm going to get a good ride in. Yes.